Alongside the growing F-35 presence throughout the Pacific, the massively stepped-up cooperation between the U.S. and Philippines could be among the most decisive elements in any China deterrence cooperation. The Philippines has recently expanded its Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, with the United States and, as discussed by Warrior editorial fellow Johnny Franks, added 4 new locations enabling U.S. military access. Strategically and geographically speaking, the Philippines are arguably the most critically positioned land area within reach of Taiwan. Franks writes that 4 new locations for U.S. military access have been identified: Camilo Ojos Naval Base in Santa Ana, Lalo Airport in Cagayan Province, Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Gamu, Isabela Province, and the island of Balabac near Palawan. The northern Philippines are merely a few hundred miles, or, at most, roughly 400 to 600 nautical miles from airspace over Taiwan, distances well within the attack range of land-launched F-35s. U.S. F-35s have trained with Philippine forces, yet perhaps larger numbers of the aircraft could permanently be based in some of the new U.S. military bases there. The tactical significance of this cannot be overstated, as the U.S. Air Force now operates more than 300 F-35s, and placing a large force of F-35s within range to defend Taiwan without needing refueling introduces unprecedented air power projection in the Pacific. This is particularly true when it comes to a simple numbers equation, as the PLA Air Force is believed to operate roughly 120 J-20s or so, assuming the J-20s can rival an F-35, a possibility which has not been verified and lends itself to considerable questioning. The J-20 is land-based and larger, and arguably less maneuverable than an F-35. The unknown factor in this kind of matchup, it seems clear, would be the extent to which J-20 sensors, mission systems, computing, weapons, and targeting were comparable to an F-35. This seems to be the most operative question. However, even if it were comparable, a PRC J-20 force would be well outnumbered by a US, Japan, South Korea, Singaporean multinational F-35 force fortified by Philippine-based US F-35s. The U.S. territory of Guam is more than 1,700 kilometers east of Taiwan, making access difficult but not impossible with area refueling. An observer's conclusion would therefore seem quite clear. With the expanded U.S. military presence in the Philippines, why not base U.S. F-35s and F-22s in the Philippines? What this suggests is that, in terms of simply observation and geographical reality throughout the vast Pacific, the U.S. would be extremely well advised to place impactful numbers of F-35s in the Philippines, as it would fill a middle gap in an F-35 semicircle spanning from well south of the South China Sea to north of the Korean Peninsula and Sea of Japan. From Singapore to northern Japan, a multinational semicircle of F-35s could provide a protective air supremacy sphere of great consequence to defending Taiwan and deterring or defeating any Chinese attack throughout the entire Pacific. The most critical reinforcing element of this semicircle would arguably be the forward positioning of U.S. Navy 5th-generation air power, given that U.S. carriers can launch as many as 50 or more F-35Cs, and America-class amphibs can operate with 20 F-35s set. This places ocean-launched 5th-generation air power in position to complete a robust and potentially impenetrable wall of networked allied F-35s across the Pacific. Perhaps now more than ever and increasingly moving into the future, the F-35 will operate as an attack platform, sensor node, ISR platform, flying computer system, aerial gateway and mothership aircraft operating small groups of nearby drones. The F-35 has already operated in a critical missile defense capacity, operating as an aerial sensor within the Army's Integrated Battle Command System and the Navy's Anti-Ship Cruise Missile Defense System, known as Naval Integrated Fire Control Counter-Air, NIFC-K. In each of these instances, the F-35 operated as a critical targeting and aerial sensor node able to identify threat specifics and relay time-sensitive information back to ship and land-based fire control systems, giving commanders a much longer time window through which to determine an optimal response, defense, or counterattack. The expansion of the F-35 across the Pacific could accurately be described as explosive, due to a number of key variables. Within recent years, Japan has solidified a massive $35 billion F-35 acquisition, bringing a large ocean and land-launched fifth-generation JSFs to a growing network across the Pacific. Australia and South Korea are also F-35 countries, and the lesser-recognized but critical country of Singapore is increasing its F-35 buy as well. These countries, particularly when combined with sea-based U.S. Navy F-35s operating from carriers and amphibs, can literally encircle the Pacific in a ring of networked F-35 aircraft. This prospect is immeasurably strengthened by the F-35's multifunction data link, MADL, which enables F-35s from all the countries to securely and seamlessly share data across the entire Pacific theater. This means Japanese and South Korean F-35s could seek air superiority along the Sea of Japan and Korean Peninsula, stretching down below Japan's southern island chain. Should Japanese F-35s take off from Japan's southernmost points, they could help secure air zones north of Taiwan and, with refueling, reach Taiwanese airspace. Forward-positioned U.S. carriers and amphibs could occupy a critical central position west of Taiwan, placing fifth-generation aircraft within striking range of Taiwan or parts of the South China Sea, depending upon where they operate in the central and southeast areas of the Pacific. Should Singapore be inclined to support a China deterrence F-35 coalition, its air force could protect the southwestern Pacific airspace from Chinese air attack. Singapore just increased its number of purchased F-35s up to 12, and its F-35 could connect with southeastern Pacific Australian F-35s to complete the air dominance circle throughout the Pacific. The F-35 has specifically demonstrated an ability to operate as an aerial gateway in both NIFC-CAT and IBCS. Media can serve as a critical link between ground-based radar, surface ships, aerial drones, satellites, and numerous command and control hubs positioned throughout the theater. This means F-35s can perform drone-like functions, transit target data between ground, air, and surface nodes, or even use weapons to intercept or destroy an enemy ballistic missile from the air or on the ground before launch. Air-ground connectivity in support of land attack missions is also critical to F-35 operational capability, as in 2020 at the Army's Project Convergence. U.S. Marine Corps F-35Bs demonstrated an ability to share real-time targeting data with dismounted ground-based soldiers,